Lori is under the weather today, so I'm going to try to guide the ship the best that I can to get going. Thank you for joining the second Lunch and Learn, which is on RapidLite. Let's take care of just a few housekeeping things here. If you can, please mute your phones so that way we kind of eliminate some background noise. You can submit questions through the Start meeting. There is a little message blurb there, and we can answer those questions at the end of the presentation. Also, the presentation will be recorded and posted. It'll be available on the Kansas911.org website and the Knowledge Center, and which is the FirstNet campus there. So having that, I'm going to begin. I'm going to do the best here. Today our presenter is Karen Marquez with RapidLite. Karen started her career in public safety communications as a dispatcher 20 years ago in Federal Heights and spent the last 19 years at Westminster Police and Fire. She is currently the project manager at RapidSOS after recently transitioning out of the PSAP where she was a supervisor and project manager. Karen has been involved in many aspects of the PSAP, from operations to implementing CAD, 911 phone systems, logging recorders, and other systems. She enjoys working with vendors and users to gather useful feedback to make products more efficient for dispatchers everywhere. So I am going to try to turn presentation rights over to Karen so she can teach us a little bit about RapidLite here. So let's see.
Excellent, and thank you for the introduction. So there are a few things that have changed. I've been with RapidSOS for about a year now, and we've had a lot of transition and a lot of growth. So my role now is I'm leading our customer success management team, and we're going to introduce a couple of our folks to you as well. Our customer success management team really is here to support all of you, our customers, to provide you with training, help you operationalize, help you understand what this life-saving tool is, how to make the most use of it, and then also to hear your voice. So as we as a company grow, we're going to be adding all kinds of new data elements into not only RapidLite but our other solutions. And, you know, we couldn't run this company without the trust and the voice of public safety. And so we are going to be looking to you all to also give us feedback on any features, enhancements, data that you would want to see not only in RapidLite but in other solutions. So my team gets to lead and run all of that. On the call today, and let me go ahead and select yes here. I'm going to select all. On the call, we have a couple of team members. So the first one I'm going to have introduce himself is Nate Vogel. He's your Business Development Manager. Nate.
Hey guys, Nate Vogel. I am the Business Development Manager for Kansas as well as several other central states, and I live in Chanute, Kansas, so the metropolis of Chanute. I'm glad to be here.
Thanks, Nate. And then Troy Cordell is your Customer Success Manager. Troy.
Hello, everyone. My name is Troy Cordell. I reside in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I'm the Customer Success Manager for the central part of the United States, which includes Kansas. And I'm looking forward to meeting many of you in your PSAPs and talking to you.
Excellent. Thanks, guys. So for those of you in Kansas, you'll probably be seeing Nate and Troy around either at your regional conferences or meetings. And we love to do these lunch and learn sessions. And we also love if you are interested in hosting some of your neighbors in your region, we're happy to come out and do presentations on RapidSOS solutions as well. So you've got a team of people behind you to support you and make sure that everything that we offer you and that you have trusted in us, that you're successful in utilizing those solutions. So that said, I'll jump into the presentation as long as everyone can see my screen. So if you can't, just shoot a quick message in there and I'll know that you cannot. I've also included Troy's email address as well as mine. On this first slide, we'll share that with you and make sure that you have Nate's as well. So over the years, we've been talking a lot in the 911 industry, and I've been around for a few minutes, and As soon as Uber was able to find people, there was this running joke of why can Uber find me but 911 can't, and then it became why can Jimmy John's find me or Domino's find me but 911 can't? Because these app technologies or commercial technologies, they adapt so quickly and they're able to utilize multiple different sensors to provide a precise location. And so now we're seeing that this commercial technology can really be used inside of the 911 center and provide supplemental location that is generally a lot more accurate to 911 on that call. So how do they do it, though? How does the Domino's and the Ubers of the world actually locate you? They use what's called device-based hybrid location. And so we're going to start with teaching you all about device-based hybrid location. You're going to hear this a lot this year as well, even from the carriers. So they combine all of the sensors on your device to provide a more accurate location based on where all of those sensors are. So we all know the world of cell tower triangulation, right? If we've been in 911 for a few years, we remember where we came from. Phase 0, we got maybe a phone number. Phase 1, we got the cell tower location, and then Phase 2, we got cell tower triangulation. But I think in 911, we've all experienced some struggles with that radius or uncertainty area being quite large. And so, locating a 911 caller was quite a challenge where we were getting a cell tower triangulation provided an estimated address with this big circle, which is the search area. So the phone's in here somewhere. When you bring in GPS signals and GPS coordinates to help locate that caller, you're going to get a little bit of a better address. But think about when you are in a building, how many Wi-Fi access points your phone can see. So if you're at a hotel, you're in a metropolitan area, busy city, you probably have, 15, 25 Wi-Fi access points that your phone is looking at. But if you're in a rural community, and I know many of you are in Kansas, you may only have one Wi-Fi access point, whether you're in home or in a building, that you can see. It really doesn't take that many to help provide a more accurate location. In some cases, it may just take one. But in-building Wi-Fi access points can really provide a better location. Top on that, so I think of this like, if you like cake, I like cake, so think of a layered cake. And all of these sensors just makes that cake better and better and better. So Bluetooth beacons, these were generally used for marketing purposes. So if you imagine driving by a Starbucks or when you're in Target or Walmart, Bluetooth beacons are inside of these stores and they're constantly sending signals to your devices. They want to know the things that you're searching for, looking for, and maybe what aisle of the grocery store you might in, so it can target coupons to be sent to you, right? But Bluetooth beacons being able to see your location and also provide updated locations can help when you are in an emergency to tell us either where you are in the store, what side of the building you're on, and of course any movement with that device. Barometric pressure reading is another sensor that can be utilized to send altitude readings to 911. This is a technology that still has some work to do. We do see that Z-axis comes in often from devices, I would say more specifically Apple devices, but the calculation is not necessarily ground truth. So if you're above sea level, at sea level, below, there may still need to be some calculations that you would have to do. So while we see it, it still has yet to mature in order to be used for a 911 call. Pedestrian dead reckoning. So what does that mean? What is an accelerometer or a gyrometer or step counter? Well, in our device that we have in our pocket and multiple devices in our household, you may use either an app that counts your steps, like a Fitbit type app or something. But there are gyrometers in that device that help pinpoint your location and help to determine whether or not you're moving upstairs, downstairs, or in a certain direction. So imagine looking at your Google map or your Apple map on your phone and you're wanting to walk from where you are to another location. And that little blue dot finds you. This is the technology we're talking about. And that little blue dot, when you turn a certain direction, has kind of a shaded V area, and that vector tells it that this is the direction you're walking. And as you turn that phone, as you turn your device, you'll see the vector change. So all of these sensors are working hard together to understand where you are and where you might be going. And this is the power of device-based hybrid location for 911. Okay, I'm going to switch slides here. There we go. So what is RapidSOS? What is your service offering? We have this thing called RapidLite, but what does it do? So let's talk a little bit about our clearinghouse. The NG911 clearinghouse is our standards compliant location information server. So we get that location, right, foundation of every 911 call. And it's also an additional data repository. So again, for 20-some years in the industry, we've been talking about next generation data. So improved location or enhanced location. We've been talking about data coming in, whether that's photos, video, some sort of a connected thing data coming into 911. And we really have not seen that happen too much yet. So little by little, we've got text to 911 that's moved forward in some states. But we haven't really seen the value of Internet of Things data being able to be utilized in the 911 center until now. So we partner with these connected device companies to provide life-saving data through the clearinghouse to public safety. When I say through the clearinghouse, it is a pass through a single point of contact to send this data out to you all. We do not store data. We do not, keep it, sell it, or anything. It really, truly is that pass through. The other thing that the benefit of having a one-stop shop for all of this data, I don't know how many of you would be interested in connecting with 25 different alarm companies, maybe 6 or 7 connected car companies, and 8 or 10 home Internet of Things, and having different integrations or APIs into all of your different solutions. Everything would look different, behave different, feel different. So having, that single interface to receive any data that might be available with a 911 call, then now your telecommunicators are receiving enhanced information to help them, or to help support them in their decision making and their questioning as well on that caller. But they don't have to look in all of these different places for that data because it's going to be presented for them in a really smart way and something that is simple for them to use. They're busy and they have priorities, right? So our job is to make it as easy as possible for those frontline folks. The other thing about RapidSOS that some of you may have heard is that our solution is free. So RapidLite is a free web service to public safety. And how the heck do we make our money? So on the connected device side, these companies that we're working with that want to provide data to public safety, they pay for the use of the clearinghouse to pass that data through. And our business model is that we want this to be a free service to the PSAP. So it is very important, not only is location free anyway, but we need it to be something that is going to be free and relevant and quick and accurate for the telecommunicators because you have lives to save. So where does all of this data come from? So today, RapidSOS receives location information from 2 sources and 3 if you think about location plus additional data. The first one being Apple. Apple announced with RapidSOS back in June that they would be releasing this technology through the clearinghouse with Apple iOS 12. So iOS 12 came out in September, and hopefully on September 15th you all downloaded iOS 12 on your devices so that when you made a 911 call, that location can be sent automatically to the clearinghouse and then received at a 911 center near you that's connected with us. And we're going to get a little bit more into how this goes through us, the differences between the location we're sending and what you're seeing today with phase 1, phase 2 in just a few minutes. Source number 2, so a couple of days after Apple released iOS 12, Android also announced that they were going to be partnering with us so that on a 911 call for any phone that is operating system 4 or higher would be able to send location information through the clearinghouse to 911. So it's really important that these 2 huge device manufacturers are now playing in the public safety community to provide more accurate information to 911, and they're doing that through RapidSOS. So how does this device location actually get to the clearinghouse? So today, here's what happens on a 911 call. We have an iPhone and we have an Android phone here. A 911 call is made, right, and it goes through the wireless carrier, selective router, and some of this can be different based on whether or not you have a next generation setup or network in your area or not. But all of this is still going to happen. So that 911 call is going to go where it needs to go, and it's going to get out to that 911 center. That voice call is going to make it to y'all. And then there's a couple of things that happen where, you might see you have to rebid for more accurate location information, or your call handling solution may do an automatic rebid. It has to make several stops to receive that phase 2 location before it gets to you. We are not replacing anything that happens along that path today. You're still going to get the voice call. You'll still see phase 1 information. You'll still see phase 2 if available. But what happens is, so there's a couple more steps in there. At the same time that 911 call is made, and quite often even before that 911 call gets to you, you hit 911 on this phone and you hit that little green button for call. Location information has already been calculated on that device, and oftentimes it's already been sent to the clearinghouse and it's sitting there waiting for you to request that information. Okay? And when I say oftentimes it's available even before you get the phone call, we've sat in PSAPs doing testing, and as soon as we hit 911 from our devices and we plug in that 10-digit number, it will populate in RapidLite sometimes before you have answered 911, what is the address of your emergency. So it is very fast. The calculation happens as soon as you're hitting those buttons in the background. So it is really, really quick on the back end. For you guys at your 911 centers, you're going to be logged into RapidLite, and you're going to take that 10-digit phone number of your 911 call, and you're going to query the clearinghouse using that 10-digit number, and you're going to say, is there anything available for me? So the 10-digit number, your ANI, is the key essentially that unlocks any of that location information plus updates or any data that might be associated with that call. The other really cool thing is, today when you're on a 911 call and you rebid, you may get a couple of updates on that location, but if the vehicle's moving, the person's walking around, you're really not going to be able to see or realize that or to get updated locations with a moving vehicle. The beauty about the location being sent to the clearinghouse is it's going to be sent every 3 to 5 seconds to the clearinghouse. And that will be presented to you in RapidLite. If they are moving, you will see updated and new locations. So that's pretty cool for the folks that call 911 just to see where the closest hospital is, and they don't want to tell you where they are, and you're already sending medics. Now you can actually help the medics find these callers and get them hopefully to pull over so you can provide that resource to them. Going on to the next one, so here we're kind of baby stepping a little bit into Next Gen 911. Uber has created a 911 assistance feature in their app, and if your city or your area is enabled for Uber, when their user calls 911, and this is a natively dialed 911 call, in RapidLite, your folks would be able to see the location given, any updated locations, but they would also see the caller name, caller phone number, vehicle make, model, color, and license plate. So now here's data that we've not been able to get before without asking, right? And now you can have that information at your fingertips. So let's say, the caller is the passenger and they've just been in an accident and that driver is passed out. Most of the folks in that back seat do not know where they are. If they're using the safety toolkit, the 911 assistance feature through their Uber app, and this is available nationwide, but in order to get it in RapidLite, we would just need to turn this on for you. But you can ask folks today, are you calling through the Uber app? Can you tell me what your screen says your location is? But you're going to be delivered automatically in RapidLite. And then that vehicle make, model, color. So now you have information that you're able to pass on to your responders. And of course, you're still going to verbally verify everything, right? But if that caller passes out, if the driver is unable to speak, they're not able to tell you that information. You have something to go on, right? So more information, we have it quicker, and we're able to provide the responders with information that's actually usable in their response. And hopefully you will not hear back on the radio, unable to locate or UTL, right? So we're going to actually get into the RapidLite emergency interface. So I'm just going to bring this up real quick. I want for everyone at your centers, as you roll out RapidLite, to make sure if you are saving a URL on your desktops, please, please, please save this URL. And I will send it out to you after this. But it is https://rapidlite.rapidsos.com and then the /login. And there's a big reason why for this. You're going to be taken immediately to this Welcome to RapidLite page where you can enter your, what we call credentials, so your email address and the password you set up when your account was created. And if you happen to forget your password, you can also click Forgot Password here. You're going to select I am not a robot, and you may or may not have to click on a series of pictures in order to get in. And I might not actually be using the right email because if you can see, I have about 1 million passwords. And I should have done this earlier. Let's try this one. No. All right, so y'all are going to see Karen mess up. And that's okay, because you know what? Sometimes we fail. Let's do forgot password real quick. I'm sorry about this, guys. I had a bunch of things get changed on me, well, by my own hands. So give me just 1 second. We'll request new password. And the other thing that I'm going to do is actually show you what happens if you go to the other website. So light.rapidsos.com. So if you see here on my screen, you'll see a different user interface. And there's a real big prominent button here that says Get Free Access. That Get Free Access button is very tempting for people, but if you already have RapidLite, you do not want to click that button. Here's why. It's going to take you through a series of questions, and basically this is setting up a user account all over again for your agency. And what we end up getting on our side is a duplicate request. So, we see that and it looks like we're trying to process a whole new account for your agency. And so it can get very confusing, but it also locks your email address. So if your admin person is trying to create a user for you, they will not be able to because your email is locked with a duplicate account request. So if you go over to this login button, then you're able to log in from there. And I haven't set up my passwords yet, so I don't know if it's going to work for me. So you're able to log in there, but if you accidentally click on that other button, it's just not going to work. So please, 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 please don't do that. Let me check my email real quick and see if I received a reset password. And it's probably in. So also if you do reset your passwords, please make sure to double check your spam filters, because what ends up happening is it will go to your spam, and that's just really not a good thing either. So I'm going to go to my Sandbox here. Let's try to log in. So you'll see that I have something called Sandbox. This is our demo site, our demo tool, but it's basically the same thing that you're going to see when you log into RapidLite. So you'll notice that, first of all, this data tab, or the word data, is highlighted in blue. Whatever is highlighted in blue is going to be the screen or the section that you are actually connected to or looking at. You'll see that we're here, RapidLite, and then you'll have your agency name as well. This is the search box, so you're going to search your ANI or your 10-digit phone number here, and you're just going to put the straight phone number for now. Please don't use any dashes, no special characters needed, just the 10-digit phone number. If you copy and paste from something like CAD or something else where you're trying to grab that number, just make sure for now that you remove those special characters. We are working to improve RapidLite to accept all of that. So if you do copy and paste, whatever the format is should be accepted. It's just not available quite yet. A couple things you're going to see here as well. So we have view location, which is obviously a map, and then additional data. So if we do have additional data that comes along with this call, you'll see that information here in the additional information tab. As well, you're going to be notified that there's additional data available because there's a little red bell up in the top right corner of this blue box that will highlight or that will be shown. So you'll know if information is available. Your date and time, which we've made this in military time since most of your clocks in the PSAP are in military time as well. And then if you want to clear all the data that you've done a search, you're done with this call, and you just want to have a clean, fresh screen, because some of us like that, you can click this Clear All Data. Up on the tab above, you have an admin tab as well. So depending on whether or not you have admin access or you're an agent, you can still click on this and you'll still be able to see some information, right? So you may only be able to view something and you may not be, just depending on your role. For admins, for those of you that are getting ready to create users in your PSAP, you're going to click Add User. You're going to give them a role, put their email address in here, first name, last name, and send invite. That is going to send them an email with a link to not only confirm their address, but also they'll be able to set up their RapidLite password. If you are an agency that has a ton of different users, named users, you can use this feature here to search for your user before you change or modify their role. If you're PSAP, you have some growth spurt and you wanted to update your population, your 10-digit number or any of your systems and solutions within the PSAP, you can change that there as well. Info tab is available to all. So the Info tab is going to give you the ability to just read a little bit more about RapidLite. So here's your administrative user guide, and you can click straight to different sections. You'll have a staff user guide in here as well. And then there's also some frequently asked questions in here that your folks can read or that y'all can read at your leisure. And if you have any questions, then that's when you would reach out to Troy and Orny and myself. So we're here to help you with any questions that are not already answered here, or if you just need a little bit more help walking your folks through RapidLite. We also have case studies here, so if you'd like to learn a little bit more about what we've done in other areas with other RapidSOS solutions, so not just specific to RapidLite, you can click there, and then upgrade and integrate. So we call RapidLite kind of our first step in, and it is going to grow into a very beefy solution, but we also have full integrations for your CAD, call handling solutions, and mapping. That is an automated query. It does it automatically on the back end, so that your folks don't have to put in that 10-digit phone number. And then, of course, the log out button. If your telecommunicators do not log out and they come back into Google and go to RapidLite, they can stay logged in for up to 90 days. So just so that you know, you may need to ask them to log out, have them log out, but at 90 days, everyone does get logged out. And that just assures that if there's any updates that are made, that your agency is able to receive them as well as, we do need to log out every now and then too. So we're going to get into our searches. So a couple of different things on the user interface. Number one, we have map view, satellite view, and it's just basically Google Maps functionality. So for those of you who maybe haven't used Google Maps all that much, definitely encourage your folks to play around here. I've had another customer in Louisiana, actually, that was really learning Google Maps by traveling around the United States. And they would take this little man, drop him somewhere in Kansas, and take a beautiful look around the Appalachian Bay recreation area. So it's kind of a fun tool also just to get people understanding how to use maps and toggle different views. You have your zoom in and zoom out functionality, and then you also have a button to toggle a full screen view. So if you want to get out of this full screen view, then here's your toggle full screen view again. I want to talk a little bit about this View Historic Locations function. As I had mentioned with Apple and Android devices and even through the Uber app, we're able to receive updated locations from that device. But a lot of times your 911 callers aren't moving at all. They're static. They're standing still. Or they're moving just within a small room. So we had this View Historic Locations feature added because sometimes if you're getting updates every 3 to 5 seconds, your screen or that image was just really getting clouded with a lot of red circles and icons. And it was hard for folks to differentiate or just understand that this was the same spot, same location. But if you know the person's moving, or if you want to see if the person's moving, then you would just click this on, and you have the option to view the last 10 locations, the last 25 locations, or all historic locations for that particular 911 call. So let's talk about a little scenario here of when you would use this functionality, right? If you have a 911 call that is going on for about 12, 15 minutes, they're not moving. They're right there. They're on the ground or performing CPR or something. They're not moving. I promise you will not want to have that turned on. Just leave it off. You have one location icon on your map. You're good to go. If that vehicle's moving, you're going to want to use this functionality to see where they're going and where they came from, right? Now, one thing I also want to make sure that we understand very clearly is that RapidSOS, again, we do not store this location information. So your telecommunicator is going to be able to get this info on an active 911 call, and up to about 10 minutes after the call has disconnected, we would see the last known location. After that 10 minutes, if you go back to try to search for maybe historic locations, you are not going to receive anything because we cannot keep it. We cannot store it. And so if there are exigent circumstances, a request can be made to us within a 12-hour period, but at the PSAP side, you would not be able to search after that 10 minutes. So I just kind of want to make sure that's clear. That being said, I'm going to make a quick test call. So again, I mentioned we're in our Sandbox. This is our demo tool, and I'm going to use my Android device, and it is on an AT&T network, and I'm going to call our test server in California, and she's going to act like I'm making a 911 call. And let's see, I will try to put her on speaker here.
You have reached the RapidSOS test number. If you are experiencing an emergency, please.
So 347-439-6437 is the phone number of my device. And let's see. This is showing me actually a location from about a week ago. Let me try to call her again. But it is the exact same location that I was in and the same. Let's do this one more time.
You have reached the RapidSOS.
Let's hit enter and search. You will want to click the search box, just so I found that that sometimes works a little bit better. And I'm going to log out and log back in again. And today is Thursday, so just so y'all know, on Thursdays we do generally push updates out. And so sometimes things just on the demo side may not work very well because we are pushing updates on Thursdays. So just a little FYI about that, but we're not seeing my demo device is not working great today. But this was from a demo that I did last week in some test calls, so you'll see you're able to zoom in, zoom out. I'm not on a live system. View the terrain, throw your little guy out here in the street and take a look around if you would like to. So all that feature and functionality. So I want to talk a little bit too about sometimes where you might see that there's no data available. And if you are actively already using RapidLite, you're probably noticing that there are times where you see that there is no data available. So a couple things on best practices, and quite honestly, that's as simple as that user interface is. Again, I mentioned to utilize this login link. Save it on your desktop, save it on your browsers. It's going to take you to the Welcome to RapidLite login versus the Get Free Access. Query, query, query every call. So if you see no data available, there might be a couple of reasons behind that, but we want you to query every call anyway. Even if you see no data available on that query and you disconnect, query that phone number again. You might see location information or last known location information as soon as you query that, and I'll explain why in just a second. Know when to use that view historic location function. So as I mentioned, the toggle with the person that is providing CPR and they are not moving at all versus another person who may be in a vehicle moving around while they're on 911 making threats. Documenting CAD, I'm sure at all of your centers, if you guys are the administrators of those centers, you're going to want to make sure that your telecommunicators are documenting information in CAD if they receive location from a Rapid SOS, because if you didn't document it, it didn't happen, right? And because we're not storing this information, you want to make sure that it is documented very, very well in CAD. And again, query every call. If I haven't mentioned that enough times, query, query, query. When you might not receive location. So for some of you out in rural communities, you may be receiving 911 phone calls from old networks that potentially are still using outdated technology like CDMA, where it says, on this 911 call, voice has a priority. And voice is going to get to that 911 center, but we cannot send data along with it. And oftentimes we're seeing that carriers like, and these are just examples, US Cellular, Viero, Sprint, and some of those other smaller, I guess, community kind of network companies, they cannot generally send voice and data together, so you might see no data available. But it's always valuable to go query when you disconnect and see if that data can now be passed now that the 911 call's over, especially for hang-up calls. I think a lot of us receive 911 hang-ups, and when you call back, nobody answers, nobody answers. If you are able to at least obtain the last known location and maybe it matches up with a call that you're responding on, it gives you a little bit more information on that response. Old flip phones. Flip phones, not smartphones, they're not going to work, and some people still have them. So you might not receive location if someone is calling on just a really old device. I do see, however, that Razors are making a comeback for those of you who were Motorola Razor customers. And then non-service initialized phones. So those phones that have the area code of 911, those do not have a data plan. They are able to make emergency calls using the emergency function, but because it does not actually have a data plan, it can't send data with that voice call. So those are a couple of different occasions where you may not see it. And it's okay, keep querying, because you never know when that query is going to save somebody. Any call that you receive has the potential to be a life-saving call, even if it starts out as maybe a non-emergency event. Keep querying, because one of these days that call and that data is going to be there, and it is going to save somebody's life. It's going to save your call processing time. It's going to help your telecommunicators understand the situation and explain it better as they're airing this out to their responders. The other great thing about RapidLite is as you query, if we have more data available with that call, you'll be able to receive it. Now, as we work with companies like medical alert device companies, alarm companies, alarm providers, home Internet of Things, we're not going to just push data out to you. You're going to tell us that you want it turned on or enabled for your area. So, as we grow, there are other data pieces or data elements that can be brought into RapidLite. You can take advantage of that. But if it's not your time, it's not your time, and that's perfectly fine. We understand that as well. I will say a couple cool things on the medical piece, because we're starting to see a design coming into RapidLite just to get our heads around what kind of medical information might be available. But there's also the potential to search, like, let's say a medical ID, and be able to receive not only emergency contact information, but the information on the person wearing that ID bracelet. So think about allergies, known medical conditions. Maybe they have a device implanted. Maybe they're a diabetic or a transplant recipient. That information you can have during that 911 call. So as you're EMDing the call, it can also help to guide your responses and understand just a little bit more about this patient get that information out to your responders so they have more situational awareness on what they're headed out to. So data, while we think about the talk or the concept of it can be scary, it really is not that bad. It can really help answer a lot of those questions that we have today on our 911 calls. So data's coming, but for now we have a tool that can help us quickly, accurately locate our 911 callers, at least a pretty good percentage of them. So, and with that, we can take some questions, and I'll stop sharing my screen here for a minute. All right. Did we have any questions from the group?
I have a question.
Yeah.
This is Julie McClure. I'm in McPherson, Kansas. And is the account for us set up so that we can add all of our dispatchers to have their own login, or do we just have the one login?
I can answer that question if Scott's not on the call. Basically, you have to request a user from Scott Eckberg.
Okay.
I think the page where you do that. Is Scott on the call by chance?
I don't believe he is.
Okay, no, I think Lori had mentioned that too, that on the 911 website there was going to be a place to click to request another account.
Yeah, there's some kind of he's set up for that.
Okay.
So then I just kind of have, this is Kathy in Garden City, I just have a follow-up on that. I did an account for me, like an administrator, and then I did a second email that all of my employees could use. But how do we keep them from like doing that forgot password, or how do we keep one dispatcher from doing something on that one email that then messes it up for the other 15 people?
Absolutely understand how that happens, because it used to make me crazy in my center when they did that. So yeah. I would always recommend having a backup, right? So if you have a shared account for all of your dispatchers and it's, dispatchers at Garden, then maybe you do a dispatch one at, so that you have a backup email address, and maybe only your supervisors or leads know about that. So if one account does get locked up, and they click forgot password, it's going to go to whoever set that email up in the first place. So it does have to be a valid email address where somebody can go into that email, click on that confirm password link, and reset it from there. So if you do have like a generic dispatcher's at, just make sure somebody has access to that email account. But I would always recommend at least 2.
So is there any problem with us setting up an account for every dispatcher?
Not at all. We have some agencies that have over 200 accounts.
Okay.
This is Ken. The request form is available on the council's web portal, and then I think that's what Scott or Lori uses to create the RapidLite account. That I think they're currently just doing is one per PSAP. So I'd follow up with Scott or Lori if you wanted to go a different route with that.
Actually, I've seen the user list for Kansas, and he is allowing multiple users at each PSAP.
Okay, good deal.
Okay, we just have to do that through Scott.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
okay.
Scott or Lori.
Okay, thank you.
This is Josh. I'm going to go ahead. Lori wanted me to log in for those that maybe have not set up an account for their agency yet, of how to do that. So, of course, once you log into the portal, there is a tab up above for RapidLite. Now, it is going to pre-populate. I unfortunately see a lot more stuff now than I used to. But if you notice, when I put my name in it automatically goes to my default email associated with my web portal account. Obviously, that won't work for an agency, especially like with Kathy talked about. If one dispatcher forgets the password and asks for it to be reset, now the remainder of the staff might not know what the new password is. So if you want something other than that, just email Scott or Lori directly, and they will create the generic accounts that you need for your agency without going through the web portal. But they did want me to show you that process from here. So
okay.
Anyway, with that.
If you're doing it, we're not getting it, or I'm not getting it.
Hold on. Let me share the screen again. Thank you for that.
While he does that, I'll also mention that we have come up with a training portal, and Lori and I were going to talk about hosting that information up here as well. So as you roll this out to your telecommunicators, they're able to go into our training portal, create a user account, so their email address, their password, but they're going to use the state's or the 911 Coordinating Council's PSAP ID. And they'll be able to take that Rapid SOS and RapidLite training. And it'll talk about not only the location technology, but it'll also go through the user interface just like we did today as well, so that they can understand how to maneuver through that and understand how the location's coming in. So we'll make sure that you have that, and please feel free to roll that out to all of your telecommunicators.
Okay. Thank you, Karen. Is my screen viewable now again?
Yes.
Okay. So once you log into the portal, you should find the tab up there, RapidLite. You can click on it. It will bring you to this screen. Obviously, I put my name in there, and you see how it defaults to just specifically my email address associated with my web portal account. Like I said, if you're after that generic account for your agency, just email Scott or Lori directly. Or if you want multiple accounts, because it appears that's happening, just send that to them directly as well without going through there. Karen, I have one question. Also, will you make your PowerPoint available, or is there something confidential about that it can't be shared at this point?
I can send some of the slides over on a PDF, so I can certainly do that.
And I'll just, so that way Lori has them, and maybe she can put that information out there. For those that are on the call, you can see some more information about RapidLite through the Knowledge Center. There is a training module for RapidLite on the Knowledge Center, or you can email Scott or Lori directly and get that information as well. But we'll try to also get her to put the PowerPoint, today's PowerPoint, out there as well. So are there any final questions for Karen or for the RapidLite team together?
I have one. Do you guys come out to the individual, like say we get a couple PSAP people together and put on a class here, face-to-face instead of...
We can absolutely coordinate something like that.
Okay. Okay, and who do we go through to do that?
You can go through Troy for that.
Troy? Okay.
Yeah. Unless, Lori, if you want to coordinate that, or they can come through us directly, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Okay, that was my question.
All right.
One more question. You said when to keep querying, and we could go back and get more data maybe at a later date. How do we do that?
So not necessarily at a later date, but let's say it is a 911 hang-up call, and you tried calling back, so now you're about 2 to 3 minutes into that disconnect stage. You can query up to 10 minutes after the call, but after that 10 minutes is over, we will not be able to, we don't actually have any information left to send. So if there are exigent circumstances, then a request can be made through our support portal for only up to 12 hours, but there's a lot of engineering digging that they have to do on the back end.
Okay. Well, I knew there was something about some time. That's what I was at, you know. Answer my questions again.
Excellent. Any others?
All right. Hearing no other questions, I want to thank everybody for taking the time out of their lunch today to join us for our second Lunch and Learn. Of course, if you have any other follow-up questions after this, feel free to reach out to Scott or Lori or myself, and we'll see if we can get the answers for you. So everyone have a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.